Welcome back to another episode of 365 Unlimited. We've been gone quite some time, planning our first ever live event, which just happened this past weekend at Wayside Saloon. The turnout was amazing. I don't think we could have asked for much more. It went exactly the way we planned it to, and then some. There was parts of it that actually ended up being better than we could have ever even predicted. But before we dive into all that, we're gonna do a little recap on this event, talk about some of our favorite things that occurred during the event, emotions we felt during it, etc. But before all that, we want to thank our sponsors, Bocker Auto Group, Driftless Quality Wear. But then again, we also want to thank our sponsors once again that sponsored our T-shirt at Wayside Saloon. That's Taz Construction, Bocker Auto Group, Diningers, and the Freeport Club. We're very appreciative of those four sponsors with helping us purchase T-shirts. We actually made a killing with selling those shirts, so shout out to those sponsors. We appreciate that very much. On top of that, I do want to say thank you again to Amber with Wayside Saloon for allowing us to have the event at her place. She opened us up. She opened up with open arms for us, allowing us to do this event, our first ever one at her place, which meant a lot to us. The support we've received from her and countless other people, it means a lot, and it goes a long way in helping this community get back to where we want it to be. Uh, so now that I got the thank yous out of the way, uh, yeah, like we said, it's been a while since we've been back here. So, Gannon, I'll let you take it away with your initial thoughts from our
Yeah,
first
I
ever
mean, this
event.
wasn't our initial idea was to take this long of a break. The summer gets busy, as people know that. We're working, doing the internship stuff for Personal Corner as well. And then this event kind of just came about towards the middle of June, and we had the last half of the month to kind of establish that and get everything squared away, which was a lot of little stuff, which we learned as the way. And I think that was some of the cool planning stuff that we'll kind of get into a little bit more as this goes. But yeah, I mean, just overall, it hasn't totally like set in yet, I think, totally with the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Matt Shavers, Matty Visuals, who is our photographer slash speaker slash everything really on Saturday. He's helping us out as always. But, just kind of sitting back and looking through the pictures and all that, and seeing all the faces there. Because you kind of forget that when you get caught up in the moment
You
of
do,
everything going
yeah.
on Saturday. But yeah, I don't think it's totally going to set in for a while what we did, but that's part of it, and we're going to keep going. But it's just awesome to see the support. People start reaching out on social media with their pictures. It's not even the people that were there. There were people that reached out. Life happens. We understand that.
Yeah.
There's more people I know that wanted to be there that couldn't be there, and those people have reached out and made it known, and that makes just as much of a presence on our lives as it does the people that showed up. But I really want to specifically reach out to the people that showed up to this event that had no business being there for 2 or 3 hours, because I don't know if I would have sat through that for 2 or 3 hours in some aspects if we weren't co-hosting it
Yeah.
and running it. But no, it was really awesome to see people show up and stay for a while, listen to majority of the speakers, if not all of them, and just celebrate the day with us. So I think that's a little bit that's not getting lost, but just some more credit that I think we need to, it's due, and it's definitely going to be given through all this. But we'll get some more specifics here. Kind of, Bryce, talk about the stress level leading up the last couple weeks. It was a lot of little stuff that we knew we had to get done, and we did. We acted quick, but kind
Yeah.
of talk about a little vague
Well,
description of just getting ready for our first thing.
yeah. Well, I know you can tell the audience firsthand that you knew how stressed I was with just the idea of people showing
Yeah,
up. And you made it known, getting in my head, making sure I wasn't worried about that because obviously I couldn't control it.
control what you control.
But yeah, it's me. I got the anxiety. I was thinking about it. It was on my mind. Uh, but as far as planning, I think that was the most interesting part with this event. I think because this is the first ever thing we've organized together. Uh, I've never even thrown a party before, so like organizing something like an event at a actual place of business in our
Yeah.
community, I didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want things to go the wrong way, and especially with like us trying to do this in a positive light for our community, I wanted it to be the right thing,
Yeah.
the positive influence on people that made it and showed up. So I think my biggest worry and my stress levels were high was just making sure that we had the correct amount of advertisements out there for the people that especially aren't in tune with social media.
Mm-hmm.
I think the older generation was the key that we wanted to be able to hit because we knew we wouldn't hit them on social media
Yeah.
necessarily. Not to say there isn't people
Mm-hmm.
out there on social media, but a good majority. I think we were afraid that we wouldn't hit those people, and I think we did a good job of that. Another shout out can go to Dennis at Exchange Street Printing in Freeport here in Freeport, Illinois, downtown. He helped us get those advertisements out ASAP. He helped us with the banner right behind us. Um,
Quick too.
yeah, very quick. So I think that was a key
Yeah.
aspect in making sure we got those out, and you and I got
just
them out right away.
just one little point building off that what he said with Dennis, and just with all the local businesses we reach out to, advertising, dropping off our posters and all that. There's really everybody was warm and receptive to it, and I think that's what made it feel even cooler because it was a homegrown event from all local companies sponsoring it out and also helping us with some of our other behind the scenes stuff. And there's a lot of people that help with all that, and it's all from the people from the 815 community. And I think that's what made this first event for 365 Unlimited that special for us.
Yeah.
I know. So I just want to add that in.
Yeah, and I think another thing I want to touch on is just the fact that I think it was weird timing with the schedule for this event. It's just so happened to be that we had to do this in July.
Middle of the summer, yeah.
Yeah, and we understand that people are on vacations, people are going to be out of town.
Mhm.
There's baseball in the summer, there's softball, travel basketball, like
Yeah.
anything sports wise. I mean, families are
Summer.
doing activities. Yeah, so we understood that not all people that wanted to be there were going to be there. But I'd say so. The biggest worry that I had with that was being able to find the correct amount of speakers,
Yeah.
and being able to have quality speakers, I guess, in a way, guys and girls that could reach reach the community, reach the people that we were speaking to, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I told my parents right after the event. I said I went into this event like knowing we were gonna have speakers, knowing we had the sponsored pizza, knowing we had a cash bar right there. The one thing I went into this event not knowing was how long, what the speaking was gonna be like. And like I said, I think it turned into the face of the event. The people turned into the face of the event. It was less on us and more on everyone in the room. And I think that was crucial to having a successful event, was us not shining light on ourselves so much with what we're doing, but doing a simple explanation of what 365 Unlimited is, what we want to do with it, but then allowing the community to kind of welcome athletes, coaches in arms. And yeah, let's talk about some of the speakers we had, because we had some great stories.
I mean, kind of before we get into specifics, but yeah, the speaking, that was the biggest part of our itinerary, for the 2.5 hours of our event that we were a little bit concerned about of how the time was going to be eaten up specifically. But, I think the biggest credit goes out to all the speakers, Zay Segner, Anthony Dedman, Luke Norman, Ramin, Matt Shavers, Cam Bardell, and then Gerald McClellan. I mean, it came together perfectly. Guys who played baseball, football, boxers, I mean, coaches from different levels that were athletes themselves at semi-pro and Division I levels. You just go across the board, their knowledge, but that wasn't what we talked about that day. And I think we kind of proposed the idea of asking a few questions to get the guys warmed up. And I think that idea was awesome. It was really receptive. But we said maybe 20 to 30 words per people getting interviewed, per guest speakers. And it was everybody else that did the talking. And I think that was the cool thing, because you could really get it wasn't just watching us interviewing somebody through a computer screen and you just sitting there kind of feeling like you're listening, but you're there in person now at this event and could hear those people's stories that were straight from the heart. And
that's
the thing. It wasn't all great stuff from the heart, but it's stuff from the heart. And that's the reality of the world. And it's great to have people. It's not great to have to go through those experiences, but it's great to have people that are willing to talk about it and open up and challenge themselves and bettering themselves, while also letting other people in a little bit on what's going on in their lives and their experiences. And people can only take from that and learn and grow. And I think that's what all of our guests, and we're not speaking about one or two of them, we're speaking at all of them in the same capacity right here.
Well, and I think the important part about it is all of them had their own unique story in a way, and all of them had their own unique advice, unique inspiration, motivation towards the community, towards the people that were in attendance, and even the people that were tuning in on our live stream as well. But I think some things that really stood out to me was that equal balance of an emotional side of speaking and a motivational side of speaking.
It was a great fine line.
It is, and I think those two meshed together so well that it really struck the audience we had there in a way that I've never seen before.
And that's the goal of our message since we started this.
It is. It's across the board, bringing about the change that we haven't seen in our area before. So having people get up and speak like that, the way that they did, in a more detailed manner, I would say, talking about some gruesome stories, talking about things that have occurred in their life. Yeah, real life events, bad or good.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Dedman and Luke Norman coming up there and being inspirational as hell. Just literally getting up there, pouring their heart out, talking about player-coach relationships on and off the field or court.
You know, and
And how
those are
they
guys.
manner.
Anthony's done it for over 20 years of different sports,
Yeah.
and Luke's in his third year. But those guys were so entwined. What they were saying, it was literally the same things, but just in different ways. The caring for their athletes and just. But it's cool. One guy's in his mid to late 20s, and the other guy's in his 40s. You know what I mean? But there was a similarity between the two, and
Well,
it's just wanting to
definitely.
grow and teach and
Yeah.
just advise people, and that's the biggest thing.
Well, they're definitely two guys that
Similar, so
very similar with the way they handle themselves and operate on a day-to-day basis. And like Luke's found it out at a young age too.
Great
being
role model from his father.
fantastic. Being the head coach of the Highland Cougar basketball team here in town, he's had to grow up earlier than normal than most
Yeah.
people do. And like you said, having Pete Norman as his father, that's you can't beat that
Yeah.
type of that influence, and he's had that in his
Yeah.
life. And two incredible guys going up there, Anthony and Luke, speaking on advice to the youth, advice to us even. And then we got a guy like Gerald McClellan coming up there, the face of Freeport boxing nowadays here in our hometown. To have him there was special. I mean, damn it, that's like
Yeah.
having a celebrity at the
Yeah.
event. I mean, he's on his way. He's a professional boxer already, but the man, pay-per-view events, bringing people there, filming a documentary on his life, on his boxing career. That was special to have him there, and I know he's got his head on straight. And the advice that he was given, the story behind him
Yeah.
and his father, it's unreal. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful to see, beautiful to hear. And this gifted to us right behind us, the Gerald McClellan thumbnail that Keegan Gyland created. So shout out to Keegan Gyland. I want to make that known. Keegan Gyland and Philip Mueller were also major influences behind the scenes on organizing this event, helping us always get thumbnails, helping us with graphic designs. Philip doing the flyer for us on short notice. Those guys, I seriously want to make it known that they are two key important factors on our team, and it's just as much their show as it is ours. We're the face, we speak, but these guys, the work they do for us behind the scenes, like this piece of art behind us would not exist without a guy like Keegan or a guy like Philip. So I know
They
that
both
that's
have
in
their
the
hands
mix
in
of
making
things.
both
Yeah,
of these things. So
that's in the mix of things
Yeah.
right there. But I need that to be known. These guys deserve all the recognition they can possibly get. But I want to ask you now, Gannon.
yeah. So just back with Gerald. Do you want me to pick up with Gerald?
Yeah,
or
go
what?
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was definitely because we were, in contact with him. We weren't sure, busy schedule, with him with his training and all that. But to get away for 2 or 3 hours, come out to the event, bring pictures, sign autographs for people, just little things like that. Instead of just showing up, I mean, he could have just showed up and talked, which would have been awesome. But he just went above and beyond, and that's what's cool for two guys he's never known and just interacted through social media. That we just came in contact with a couple months ago from Trent over at Zay, our barber, and again putting us in another connection with
Zay Lewis,
another guy. So, but back to Gerald, it was just awesome to hear that because it's such an interesting story, and it really is. And he doesn't have to come back and do all this and give back because he just
You don't have to.
Nobody else. There's plenty of people that have been great athletes and celebrities, whatever you want to call it, from Freeport or the area that don't come back and give anything to the communities. So just let alone doing that and coming back
Speaks a lot on his character.
yeah, and 100%. And to do that really on a whim with two guys he didn't even know, but trusting us and coming there, and then we ended up trusting him, and it just ended up working. And we've said that both in our communications with him. It's a bond that's been created with him, and it's going to be something that only sparks more interest with each other as we both gain our notoriety with him in his boxing and with our new 365 Unlimited rebrand. But it's almost like a loss for words because
It is.
I don't know how to describe it, because if you told me all this Saturday morning, even an hour before the event, I wouldn't have said it went that well. It really did. And
I know that we were just looking to a point where we just wanted everything to fall in place. I don't think we had a vision for exactly how we wanted it to be, because that's the beauty in it with
and
this
that
being
was
our first
that was a
event
learning curve also
Yeah.
with this being the first
Yeah,
event.
and like I said, I do think it all fell into place the right way, because I know like I felt like I wasn't drunk or high, but I had like a rush of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I was back playing sports. Like that's what it felt like, just to be in a room with people that are trying to make a difference, trying to hear us out and actually want to engage with us. It was huge, man. Like I've never experienced something like that in my life, and to be able to speak on it it means everything to us, and just the feedback we've received since the event, which has only been a couple days now, it's all positive. I haven't had one negative comment towards us. In fact, I've had people reaching out saying like, "Damn it, I wish I would have been there." And it sucks because I know we worked our tail off to advertise it, but I wish there was just some other way we could have been able to get it out a little bit more, to allow people that we aren't friends with or family connections with to be able to see that. I mean, obviously, I know we understand.
It
that,
happened the way
yeah.
it happened. There's nothing more.
No, it did. I think the key component of it all was everything like we said is falling into place, and it did just that for us. And I really wouldn't have wanted it to be any other way. I can't imagine it going any other way. Yeah, I mean, you got.
What was your question, Keegan?
I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking about some of the things that occurred at the event, and like you said, I want to just like a two-part kind of. So, like you said with our interviews, kind of like how we originally thought that we were just going to have speakers go up and speak. We weren't going to pose questions to them. So, what do you think it would have been like? Let's do it like a would have thing or a could have thing. Or what difference do you think the event would have been, like good or bad, if we wouldn't have went up there and asked couple questions? Do you think it would have ran as smoothly, or do you think there would have been some hiccups?
It might sound kind of vague, but I don't know because it didn't happen.
Right, yeah.
And you know, and I'm
fair.
saying that to the realest capacity, and that's the same way to some extent how we carry this when we do our podcast, when we ask people on the spot. Boom, we improvise and we thought about that because we knew some of our speakers were not the most comfortable. It's public speaking. A lot of people hate doing that. If you're comfortable, like myself to some extent, it's rare. You just don't get that. It's hard to do, and it's hard to get up in front of people and tell your story with raw emotion. Yeah. But that's a fine line. If I could have said anything, if we, just had those guys talk, I don't think we maybe would have specifically got as much out of them or that specific raw emotion, but it was almost like they were still just talking with just a little push. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what we do in our interviews with people's stories getting told. We just kind of break the ice, kind of poke the bear a little bit, so to speak. And then we kind of build some questions off of their answers. And that's literally how it went. And a couple of the guys started speaking. I sat down and forgot we were up there, asking him. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about getting up to grab the mic and ask him the next question because they were just elaborating and spitting more facts, throughout the whole speech for all of them. So I think it really happened how it was supposed to be because I think we thought how we do with our problem solving skills as we do with podcasts. And it translated.
We don't prepare for them.
That's what I'm saying. It's on the fly. But like with those questions and all that, that's how we did it. We didn't get caught up in the moment, and we thought of an idea, and those guys were really comfortable with it and responsive with it. You could tell, and they liked it.
So, where do we go from here? What's next for us now that our first event's out of the way? The public knows us a little bit more. There's still obviously plenty of room for growth, and we're nowhere near where we want to be. I don't think there's ever going to be an end goal in sight for us. I think it's just to do right by the people. But what's next?
And I'm so cliche, but this has kind of been my transition of my mental stuff for the last couple of years. It's hard to not look ahead and see the future and get stressed of everything, but it's going to dictate itself. 4 or 5 months ago, we had the idea of an event, but we didn't know to any idea. This was all happened in 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, this event was an option last summer too, and I'm glad we waited.
Yeah, because it would just the planning and all that. Even though if you told me 5 months ago, we have an event, but everything that unfolded and how it all happened, you can't think of that. It's almost as stuff's happening, but that means you got to keep pushing and putting the material out there and putting yourself out there. So when there is an opportunity like this event, we take advantage of it and seize the moment. But I think to some extent you can't predict the future, and
I agree.
It's true. But we can control what we're doing each day, which is not getting our new content back out, getting our new guests, becoming more versatile, being unlimited in our approach to everybody. And I think if we do that and stay the course of that, everything else again is going to fall into place, just like the event did. So that's really that's my wrap up. I don't, if you want to say some final things, but it's really just the time and letting everything unfold.
I agree. I agree completely with that. And I think just to answer my own question there, I think what's next for us really is to just keep building brick by brick. And I think that's what we've been doing ever since we started this. It started from the bottom. And like I said at the event, like this all started off with a little app called Anchor where we were able to distribute our audio that we recorded simply through our phone. And it would distribute to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Casts, all that, Radio Public, all that. And I think that's the crazy thing, like I said at the event, was it started with that app. And what it's led to so far was us being in a room full of people, being able to speak, people listening to us. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed now is that uh, I don't think we'll ever be to a point where we're satisfied. And I like that about us. I like that with our approach, is we're always got room to grow, and we notice that, we realize that. But at the same time, we've manifested this so far. We've created a public view of ourselves where people trust us. They
Yeah.
believe in what we're doing, and it's all positive. So when I look at the question like what's next, I don't necessarily think about the future and where we'll be or what we're doing.
But we know what direction we're
But
going
we
to
know
go.
we know where we're headed because of the work that we've put in so far and the belief in ourselves, the bet on yourself mentality from Fred Van Vliet, Rockford, Illinois, that we've kind of adapted, and we've learned from that. And I think that's huge, just to keep building brick by brick. So that's just me answering my own question there, in a sense. But my final thoughts really is just another round of thank yous, like for just everyone that's believed in us, everyone that showed up, everyone that purchased merchandise, t-shirts, bracelets, my parents for helping out
Yeah.
with the t-shirt and bracelet sales, them just being there supporting me all the time, Gannon's parents for supporting me too, just like they support Gannon. It means everything to me, it means everything to him, our friends, extended family. It's just the list goes on and on for people that have
There's a
wanted
lot
to
of
be.
hours that have been
Uh-huh,
spent that they don't
exactly.
have to, and they're doing it, and it doesn't. You don't even notice it, and it's not saying that as a bad way, but we don't even notice it sometimes
No, yeah.
because that's how that's how good our nucleus is with our friend group and family and our group. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really we say a group, but it's bigger than a little group.
it
But
is.
those people put their time in, and they don't say a word. They don't ask for anything in return. They're just there because of our relationships that have been built with them from before. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the best part of it, also.
I think the last note I want to throw in there is within the coming week or coming days, I'm going to put a message out there about the t-shirts that we still have left. We got quite a few, some bracelets left over as well
Get it
from our
organized
event.
and get some
Yeah,
orders out.
once we get it organized, definitely I'm thinking about setting up a Google form where people can fill out their name, size, address, number, where contact information, where I can get a hold of them. If not, just privately reach out to me. I'll write your name down.
And if you would like to pay for it, Bryce will have Venmo
Yeah, we're
and all
accepting
that, because then you
Venmo.
can mark your shirt out, because we're not selling any shirts, confirming them until somebody pays, just so we get them all sold out, so we're not
Yeah.
holding on for them and all that. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, I mean, it's gonna. It kind of feels like a little down point right now, but we're gonna be back here real soon. So
Oh yeah, I mean 2 episodes we've done this summer so far. It feels like it's been limited, but at the same time, the unlimited approach from it
it's not
is
all work right
it
here in
is
front of the
it's
camera. So
planning the
yep.
event, and that took a lot of our time to make sure it went the way it did, and we're glad with the way it went. So now it's back to recording, back to providing content, and back to just having that unlimited mindset where everything we push is for the community by us.
Hmm.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back with another one soon. So tune into this one. Continue to share everything we got. Subscribe for us and continue to support us. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.